Hello and welcome. This is Japan, and we are at another Evolve, a pretty loaded show. We obviously had the town hall meeting that was supposed to be kind of the forethought of whatever this episode was going to be. So I was kind of excited to see that, and we get right off the bat. So that's always a good thing. As Timothy Thatcher will be the new GM now, wanting to be called a foreman. I mean, this is cool. I mean, it's an interesting choice. I mean, he's already kind of the player coach and works really much with the ID program. I think it's not a bad thing, especially if this allows him to, continue in his wrestling of like getting people in there and scouting talent and stuff. I mean, it's probably just a nice little pay increase and a little bit of on-screen stuff, which also is good for a wrestler and doing all that type of stuff. So I think all of that's really cool. So I'm glad that they decided to do that for him, and I think it's going to be a good choice. I mean, I think you kind of need somebody in that position, and I think Robert Stone's going to take probably over at NXT. So like, they really need to put him. And I think if they're going to bring it back, it would have been better for him to go back to commentary than be the person. So honestly, I think it's pretty cool. I'll put it up in A. Obviously, we don't know exactly what's going to happen, but I think overall it's pretty solid of an idea. Then we get into our first match of the night. I guess backtrack a little bit, but they also said in the town hall meeting that both champions will have one more match, and then they will go to NXT. If they win it, they'll vacate the title. If they lose it, then the title obviously changes. Kind of a cool idea. It's in theory like a good idea, but it's going to be also kind of one of those things where like you don't really want them to lose because that's such a bad momentum thing for NXT. But I guess we'll see how it goes. We obviously had Kendall defend it tonight, and then we'll have Jackson Drake on next week's show. So we'll talk about both. But then we get into our first match. It's Harlem Lewis versus Sam Holloway. Two big guys just kind of going at it. I feel like Harlem Lewis is a good character worker and like a solid wrestler. So like there's just that disconnect that I think his character is just it doesn't quite work for his ability. I think he's still trying to get to that spot. It's not a bad thing. Obviously, this is developmental, so you kind of have to have those things. But I think like his character is just too big for the skills that he currently has. But I think he's getting there. Being that he's been around for the long, like one of the longest times in Evolve, you can kind of see like the change, like that other people have progressed a lot faster in that same time. So I guess we'll see what happens. He got the win here. Sam Holloway, they both had some good chemistry there. But Sam Holloway, obviously, I think looked a little bit better overall, even though he lost. But I think the match was a solid starting match. I put it in C. I can't really put it much higher. It wasn't anything too crazy. Pretty short, but it was just trying to get Harlem Lewis over as possibly being the number one contender. And with them not, like, spoiler a little bit for the episode later, with him not being the number one contender, I think it kind of buries him. Obviously, they probably wanted to do something with him, but him not winning that opportunity, even if Jackson Drake may retain, like it's just kind of one of those weird things that like Harlow Lewis should have been the person that was in that match, but they decided not to do it. I honestly would have just made these triple threats, and they could have had a clean victory with one evolved talent pitting the other evolved talent and not having the champion evolved, like involved in all. But I guess they didn't want to do that. But next up, we get Harley Riggs versus Frill London. Man, I just feel like they've just buried this man, Frill London. Like, I think he's pretty solid. Obviously, he's got that like Jeff Hardy type feel that he's going for, but man has taken so many L's on Evolve that I just don't think there's anything that they can do with him at this point. Like, he should have had the upset. They could have had Dante Chen come down there and try to save him from like Cam Hendricks, who was doing like outside stuff. Like, that could have been the distraction, and then Thrill London get the win on Harley Riggs. So then he would have been able to get a W finally, and it wouldn't look that bad for Harley Riggs. But they decided to just do the opposite, where he gets distracted, Harley wins, and then Thrill's not involved with any of the storyline or anything. So not the greatest. The match itself I thought was okay. Very short, but I don't think I can put it much higher than a C. It just was a solid match, but it was only a couple minutes, so it's not like it had to do much. Then, like I was saying, it led to Dante Chen coming down, and talking face to face with Cam Hendricks, which will have a match next week. Kind of excited for that. It definitely should be Cam Hendricks winning. I think they really need to set him back up being the kind of like that big heel, and if he doesn't win that match against like a big baby face, I think it will really halt that whole thing. So I'll put up in B. We pretty much have all the matches for next week. We have this match. We have Lady Luck versus who did they end up saying that she was having a match with? Now I can't remember. I saw the match before this and I was like, oh, nice. We already got all three matches more than likely for next week. But yeah, Lady Luck has a match, and then obviously the men's championship match. Then we had a vignette with Luca Cristofino as his new gimmick vibe. I guess he's just vibing around. This might be the worst fan I've ever seen. I don't know what it is with the gimmicks in Evolve, but they are really bad. Like, everybody kind of has like their thing that they just are, and then there's just some people that have like some type of gimmick on top of it, and this is just the worst. Like he went from being a lawyer to a mobster to just like whatever this is, and he just looks like one of those guys that's just way too old to be doing all of this. And I mean, I guess it holds some type of roster spot for him, but man, this is like a gimmick that you give somebody who's going to get jobbed out a lot. He really should not pick up any type of win or any type of momentum because it just doesn't work. I mean, it keeps him in a job, keeps him working, keeps him training. It's fine, but this should not be something that gets over at all. So I'm interested to see what they do with it, but I feel bad for him because, well, a couple of matches that Luca has been in Evolve, I don't think they've been that bad. They've been like above subpar. Like, I feel like they're just about like where the product is defaulted at and trending towards going up, but this is just going to kind of blow any type of chance that I think he's going to be a legitimate contender to anything. So I'll put it down D. I think that might have been one of the worst segments. I really just, my brain melted watching it even. Then we had Aaron Rourke just really want to be the next person that gets, or the last person to fight Jackson Drake, and he put all of his heart and soul out there to get it. And Timmy Thatcher agreed. I think the segment was great. It really did build up Aaron Rourke, which they've done with vignettes and matches and stuff, and different opportunities where he's not been quite the person to get over. That like he legitimately should have a shot to beat Jackson Drake. They've had history, they've had all this type of stuff, and I think he's kind of the perfect person if they're gonna have somebody beat him. Like, if they were gonna just let Jackson win and just go off into the sunset, that's fine. But if you're gonna legitimately have somebody on the roster and it wasn't gonna be Cappuccino Jones last week, then it has to be Aaron Rourke here. And I think they made a really good case for him to do it. So I'll put this in A. I liked it. Liked it quite a bit. Then we get to the final match. It was Kendall Gray versus Tyra May Steele for the Evolve Women's Championship. There's a lot to be said on this match. If you look at just Kendall's performance, I think she did a solid. She's really good at selling. A lot of the times, I would say she was great at selling a lot of the moves, but I feel like a lot of it was just really mismanagement on the other side of things. And Kendall's run from being on the first episode to this last episode has been amazing. She is the mark. Like, she is the person, especially on the women's division, that you want to look at and say, that's what I want from Evolve. I want to do what she did in this year and some change, and she did it. I mean, this is what the whole point of this whole entire show and everything that you can think of, which is just completely crazy that it actually worked out and stuff, because it's amazing. It's an amazing thing that happened. So I'm kind of excited that they eventually, might have some other stuff. Obviously, the men have had quite a few successful things, but I do feel like with the men in particular, I think everybody that was kind of in the men's division that is now elevated up, I think already was on that cusp of doing it. I think with Kendall Gray, she was kind of stuck in that that area. Like, she's done level up stuff, she done a little bit of NXT stuff, but none of it had fully stuck until she got to this and did this, and I think it was great. So, yeah, putting on that little side tangent altogether, I think the match was pretty great on her end. On the other side of things is where we really had a problem. Tyra May still obviously has a little bit of a chip on her shoulder either way, because obviously she won LFG and got demoted to Evolve, and they don't really know what to do with her. But between her segment in the backstage and her ring out there, it just doesn't work. Her character is either completely a babyface or sometimes a heel, and like, it just she's really got to just stay with one of them, and I think she's trying way too much on everything. Her moves look impressive, but they're not safe moves. If you look at the stuff that she was doing against Kendall Gray, she was tossing her with like no type of like trying to cover it. It's like that's like really stiff, like independent type wrestling. She was trying to go out there to make herself look good, and she really boxed, Kendall Gray into a corner. There was no way that I would say that Kendall was really okay with half that stuff. You could really tell on her like body language that she was legitimately getting pissed off that she was getting tossed that way, because she did not have anything that Tyra May still gave her any type of coverage or try to make anything softer or help her at all on that. And maybe they wanted a little bit more of a stiff match, but I really don't think so, because it really didn't make Kendall look good, even retaining on, if you just look at that, like the actual match itself, because Tyra May still had the majority of it. But again, it just wasn't impressive. Like I think like they go on the whole like Olympian thing so much and try to make, oh, she's like Kurt Angle type thing, and it's just not there. It's just she needs way more work, and she really just needs character work to be like, hey, this is what you should do, and that she should be put into something. I really feel like she should be one of those people that gets put into a tag team and like let her develop everything. It's like how they do with Jade Cargill. Like she had to get kind of like retaught when she came into the WWE, and they wanted to make sure she was able to get a lot of that hashed out. And Bianca got her to a much better position. And I think if like depending on injuries and stuff like that, I think Bianca would have fully got her fully trained and right up to that main event thing that they really hope that she is. But they haven't really got to, in on the main roster herself. But yeah, it's the same thing with Tyra May still. I think they just don't know what to do with her, because I didn't really see like a great work out there. Like I really was just hoping that we would see something, but I felt the whole time I'm just like, damn, she's gonna really hurt Kendall. Like it just really didn't, and it didn't seem like a cell type thing. And maybe I was wrong, because but I was thinking like even if I'm wrong and this was what they were going for, it just didn't look good. Like none of her moves look crazy. A lot of her like it's just suplexes and stuff like that, and it's just so overdone to what every other person can do out there. It just didn't really work. And she's seeing gas like from like almost 2 minutes in. She was just gas, and I think that's where a lot of like the sloppiness came from, because she was like out of it, and I don't know why she was so gassed. And there could be a million other things, but it just kind of sucked. Above her performance, I'd probably put a D. I'd probably put Kendall's up into an A, and I'll probably split the difference and put it up in B. This is probably the best thing. Title gets vacated, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. Obviously, we got 3 matches for next week, so there probably won't be more than just a statement about it. Hopefully, it's like a little tournament or a fatal 4-way or something. I think they should get somebody in that belt as soon as possible. My prediction is one of two things. I think you put Callie Armstrong back into it if she's going to be staying down there for longer. If not, I'd give it to Wendy Chu, because she's had the best work in and outside the ring, and I think she would be perfect in that position to hold the title until they got somebody exactly who they want. But there's not really anybody else that just screams ready to be in that position. So hopefully it's something like that. I could also see possibly like a Nikita Lyons or somebody that's kind of like was NXT and now is came down, which is still like Wendy Chu, so it would fit also. But something like that, I think, would be the best person to put in there. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed the thing, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and tell me how you guys, if you have been watching season 2 and been enjoying it as much as season 1. I definitely feel like so far it's been good. It just definitely is going to be depending on who they put in these championship things to see what season 2 is going to be all about. But I'm excited, and tell me what your guys' predictions are for the next 2 champions. I'd like to also hear that. Until next time, this has been Japan. Bye, guys.